In this video, I would like to go over just one way to break a climbing plateau, specifically if you're climbing around that V5 range. Now, very quickly, why a vast majority of climbers are typically stuck is mainly for two reasons. One, they don't physically train, and this could come in the form of not doing your pull-ups, not doing your antagonistic work, and especially not doing your hangboarding protocols. And reason number two is they don't climb overhangs, specifically speaking. In this video, we're going to use the term overhang as anything steeper than 40 degrees. In other words, you don't climb on boards like moonboard, kilter, TB2, spray walls, give or take. And therefore, the method that I would like to introduce to you to break, like say, a V5 climbing plateau is the 60-degree climbing on the board. Because where else are you going to find 60-degree climbing that's very consistent, that has a bunch of problems besides on an adjustable board? In this video, I'll be climbing on my TB2 because that's what I have access to, but you can literally climb this on any adjustable board and it should work just swellingly. So I like to think that we have two psychological reasons why we want to climb at 60 degrees and about 5 plus 1 reason why we will want to climb at 60 degrees, just in general physicality speaking. Without any further ado, here we go. Psychological reason number 1 is climb 60 degrees to overcome your self-belief that you are weak. Whatever that means to you. I'm just gonna hypothesizingly guess that you avoid steep climbing because you believe you are weak, and therefore you're waiting for some arbitrary strength standard to befall upon you before you're ready to tackle as much steeper climbing. Because from your perspective, say if you're struggling on just 20 to 30 degrees, how can you even possibly conceive that you are ready to climb 60? It shouldn't physically type of make sense to you, which kind of makes sense. However, I like to say that's a very negative too chronological way of viewing things, because let me tell you, progress isn't necessarily linear. A lot of people plateau for a long time until the one day they say, I'm sick of it, I'm training hard now, and then boop. So progress is just never that linear. And let me additionally add that it's not necessarily the angle of the wall that makes it difficult. Trust me, the angle does have a big influence on it, but it's mostly you never climbing it, and that is what really makes the climbs difficult, is your avoidance. You probably just don't think it's that fun to climb at super steep angles, or the affirmation is difficult, but you can't keep climbing the exact same ways on the exact same angles on the exact same problems and expecting your progress to indefinitely continue upwards. And so we elected 60 degrees because it's so far removed from what you're used to that when you force your body to climb onto it, your body will forcefully force itself to get better at climbing because it's such a new stimulus. So this opportunity of 60 degree has arisen in front of your face for you to tackle it. And if every time a new opportunity arises for you to become better and you swat it down, all you're doing is teaching your body that no, I don't want to progress, and yes, I want to stay the same. I do things I'm comfortable with. And last time I checked, getting better is not the pursuit of what you can do, but it is indeed the pursuit of what you can't do. And now perhaps you'll say, okay, yes, I'll try it. But I don't want you to make the compromise of, okay, I'll do 60-degree climbing, but first I'll do 40, and then 50, and then 55, and then 60, and I'm just like, there's no need for that. You know where you're supposed to go, or want to go, or your destination of going, and now you're settling for something that's not it, for no apparently good reasons besides a self-arbitrary lack of strength that you have imposed upon yourself. Trust me, when you crank it down to 60, no one's gonna come and stop you. Just if you want to go there, just go there. Psychological reason number 2, climb 60 to overcome your fear of difficult climbs. You see, maybe you have a problem called I won't try it unless I know I can do it. And this basically just means you're slightly afraid of failing. And I do mean a lot of beginners will only ever stay in their perceived range of capabilities. And for the most part, it does make sense. But in the grand scheme of things, it's very confining, and it forces you to climb at not your most potential. And if you climb with this attitude, it kind of creates a mental blockage that physically weakens you. Like, why would you try your absolute hardest if you know there's a 0% chance of you successfully sending it? Something of that nature. But 60 degree, it does quite the phenomenal job of just forcing you to try very hard at all times. First off, it's 60 degrees, which basically means everything on it's hard, and there's no such thing as an easy climb. Even the easy climbs are really not that easy. And second off, it's 60 degrees, so Yeah, of course it's hard. So that basically puts you in an environment where you know everything's hard, you know everything's gonna be a challenge, even the easiest stuff. Therefore, it kind of takes away your perceived notion of I can be successful. No, you really can't be successful. All you could really be is you could try very hard to try to be successful. And that puts you more in a learning environment where it's not about winning, but it's more about trying. Everybody gets a blue ribbon so long as you put forth effort. So those are those two like psychological reasons. Now let's move on to the 5+1 just normal reasons. Number one is it's doggone the super safest type of climbing that you can possibly ever do on the known to man earth kind. Here's why: because the fall zone is right there. You fall 1 feet every single time. You could fall flat on your back. You could fall onto your side. You could don't fall onto your stomach. That's just dumb. But you could fall any other ways and you'll be 100% flying all the goddamn time. And not only is this a capability of falling every single time, very good thing, but the fact that you know it's very safe every time you fall lets you know that you can try as hard as you want. You can exert as much power as you want, knowing full well that you will not get injured. And that serenity, peace of mind is very good to put you in an environment where you're just ready to crank as hard as you possibly can with no regards for your own safety, because it is already very, very safe. It's not like you have to climb up 30 feet and try a super hard move. No, you can literally climb 0 feet and try a very hard move. Number two, it's very convenient. Let's say you're working on a very difficult climb on 60. Well, let me tell you something, partner. You can work every single part of that climb without having to climb up to that part, because from ground level with your feet on the floor and your hands in the air, you can literally touch like 90 to 80% of the holds, and the last 10% you just jump, and well, with a small jump you could catch it. This means you can try all the hard moves on a very hard boulder, and that is infinitely more fun to fall off of 5 hard moves than it is to constantly fall off of 1 move or to climb up to 1 really hard move, just try over and over again. Therefore, it's very convenient if you just want to, oh wow, I want to try this really hard boulder. I can't do a single move on it, but hey, you know what? I can try every single move as many times as I want, and I could try it without having to put too much effort. The most amount of effort I will need to put up is to walk up to it. Number 3 is crazy feet utilization. You know what? I really don't care what anyone says. I think climbing at 50 to 60 degrees gives you the most uses of your feet in terms of pure pressing prowess, because you're no longer vertical, and when you're vertical, gravity helps you push your feet down to the wall. At 50 to 60 degrees, you try to push straight down, your feet are literally just hanging off of the wall, which is not you using your feet. Therefore, you have to press horizontally, and this pressing of the horizontaliness of your feet against the wall is very active climbing of the feet, and therefore you learn not only how to be really physical your upper body, but you have to coordinate it of being very physical your feet as well. Overall, just very physical foot climbing. Number 4 is you could use big holds. Now, one of my favorite things about climbing at 60 degrees is you could use really big holds and the climb will still be very difficult due to the 60-degree nature. Now, this does two things basically. First off, it makes the climb less fingery, so you don't need to have the strongest fingers in the world in order to climb very, very physical type of climbing. And you don't need to have to always be down on your fingers. You can focus more on the squeezing aspect of your hands instead of the crimping. Second thing is that climbing on bigger holds trains you better on how to use your entire upper body strength in terms of your arms and back. Because sometimes, this might just be a me thing, but when I'm climbing very small crimpy stuff, it feels like I'm just, well, how hard can you crimp? But when I immediately increase the size of the hole, it's like, well, now how hard can I pull? And for me, I find it's a lot more enjoyable to sometimes just say, well, how hard can I just crank on a hold without having to worry about my finger strength being the limiting factor? And now it's just my body and movement that's the limiting factor. And I think that's sometimes a little bit more enjoyable, and hence I really like the 60-degree climbing. Number 5 is it's pretty mad physical. You know when you hit a hold and then you realize it's just not over because now you have to hold the hold that you hit? Well, 60 degrees is full of those moments, because a lot of times you're gonna hit a hold and then your feet's gonna cut, and now you have to control the swing by squeezing the living daylights out of the hold. First off, it's incredible if you're able to hold the hold and control the swing, and second off, it's also very mentally incredible if you're able to hit the hold. You're able to tell your body to re-engage onto that hold within that half of a second. It didn't just hold it through the swing, even though throughout the entire swing it feels like you're gonna fall off, but then you're telling your body, Nah, don't do it, dog. Hold on. I think that teaches a certain different type of strength, which is also very nice. Number 6, it's pretty fun. I might be just a little bit biased here, but lately 60 degree that's been like probably one of the funnest climbing for me lately. I just like the cutting feet aspect. I can hold jugs and I like holding jugs. I'm not really a crimper guy or sloper guy. So I guess I'm more yes to pinches, but that's just because they're very juggy pinches. If they were small, I would think they were shit. And it's also fun because I've never gotten hurt on it, which is, you believe it or not, is a big contributing factor to fun. Like, how fun is a high ball after you fall once? Let me tell you, not that fun. How fun is this after falling 1,000 times? It's the exact same thing. Now, for you, let's go over how we will go over implementing this into your climbing schedule. You should definitely stick with this for at least 2 to 4 weeks, all right? So give it a acclimation time of that long before you start to say, hey, where's the progress? So about 2 to 4 times a week. And I recommend you do this for anywhere at the start of your session for 45 minutes. It doesn't matter what you climb, doesn't matter how hard you climb on the board, because everything's kind of hard. You can do V0s, V1s, nobody cares. Climb for about 45 minutes on the 60 degrees at the start of each of your climbing session. Do that for 2 to 4 weeks. At the end of those 2 to 4 weeks, you immediately realize a couple things. First thing is, wall angle doesn't really matter to you anymore. You're kind of used to all of it once you get comfortable at 60. And number 2, you should notice you're a lot more physically capable, especially on the more vertical terrain. By the way, if you like any of the climbs that you saw me climb in this video, all these climbs are climbs I made up myself. It's on the TB2 in the mirror layout at 60 degrees. All you gotta go is search up 60 and you see all my climbs there. Or just search up XAO15 and you see my climbs. And if you want to see some a video about some climbing drills, his right here, I think they're pretty good climbing drills. And if you want to see some moonboard tips for beginners and get introduced to 10 really easy moonboard problems for the 2016 moonboard layout, there's a video right there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, Fauna.